What's good? Welcome to a dose of rags, episode 37, baby. 37. That's right. That's right. The age that I learned that I was fucking moron. No, you know, like you get to 40 years old and you realize you know nothing about life, and like you thought you knew everything in your 20s and 30s, and it's like mid 30s towards 40 where you figure out, shit, I don't know nothing. I got a lot to fucking learn, man, and I got to rechange my whole life. And for me, that happens every year. So
That's a wisdom, actually. That's what they say is a wise man.
yeah, it's the moment that you realize you know nothing is the moment you become a fucking real man. God damn it. All right, so boys, it's been a few weeks since we have convened here. We're already in midsummer. Who would have thought? I mean, jeez. If we keep going on the path we've been going and doing 3 episodes this summer, bro, we gotta be consistent from here on. We are gonna be consistent, and we're gonna keep on pumping them episodes. July 4th weekend's coming up. You guys got any plans? Anything that's going on?
Yeah, I have a sober July 4th plan with your brother at his place.
Nice.
And the family coming up. So
Nice.
exciting. So exciting. Can't wait. Actually, I bought a shitload of fireworks, so I really am amped up. They're all like,
Yeah, you're my enemy on July 4th because I have a dog who just fucking suffers extreme anxiety and extreme, like, he looks like a meth head. He's like fucking looking around, like he just looks scared. And I had to take him actually like on a far ride outside because the fireworks are pretty loud here, and they're right here in front of my apartment. So
get him some earmuffs.
Yeah, that shit don't work on a dog. But I'm going to take him to my aunt's house. My uncle and aunt are here from India anyway, so we will definitely be away from people like you. But I will also have a sober July 4th.
What? Why wasn't I invited to your brother's thing? I didn't hear about this. What the hell?
It just happened yesterday, Bo.
I'm sure you will be.
Yeah, I'm sure you will be.
Yeah.
You're probably doing some J stuff, you know, that takes you a million years to respond.
Jay, who else is going to light the fireworks? I'm kidding. No, but it's crazy. The reason that we're having these sober July 4th, and I'm actually trying to be sober for good, except for edibles. I don't count that shit. But we actually just came back from Colombia, Medellin. And that's something you get imprinted in your head when you go to good old Colombia. Mountain city, beautiful, beautiful city. It
What was
feels
your
like
security guard's name?
Rambo.
We had a Rambo. Rambo was our armed security guard. Let me just tell you, I liked Colombia, but I was only there 2 nights. I got basically 2 nights. You know what I'm saying? So I will be honest with you. I'll be very honest with the audience. I wanted to do something in Colombia that I've heard all about, and I've again been hearing about the pink yayo,
Prostitution.
the 2CB, the 2C. What it's basically pink special K. But I was
They call it pink cocaine, which is totally false out here in the media.
I'm not gonna lie. We were very honest on this podcast. I was hyped. I'm like, yo, I'm
The
gonna
Diddy
meet
party
me.
starter.
I'm gonna be my 90-day fiance out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try some 2C, baby. I'm gonna have some actual food, which I haven't had in the United States in years. You know, and I get to Colombia, and listen, the people are amazingly warm. Right. It is a tough culture as far as some of the poverty you see. Again, it's not the United States. It's not a first world country officially. But so listen, I try this pink substance, which we've been told is some of the best to see available in good old Colombia. And let me tell you something. I'm expecting to like just have the time of my life. And I do this 2C. And maybe I did too much, but all of a sudden I basically like bug out. I'm like feeling like the walls are closing in on me. I'm looking at like all these women, these beautiful women on the street. Some of them are workers, some of them are not. And I'm just like, you poor souls. I became like, you know, Mother Teresa. And I'm all of a sudden like in this whole other world where I'm talking about motherfucking 9/11 conspiracy shit with one of the guys on the trip. And at the same time, the United States attacks Iran on this trip. And I mean, imagine 18 guys, like half of them are high on 2C. And some of them are doing other shit. And you're watching freaking Trump and his cronies announce this war which is so suspicious, by the way. I don't even believe that shit was real. Because why would Iran agree to a ceasefire when Israel runs out of missiles? What is going on in the world? Iran just starts hitting them. So none of this makes sense to me. And I'm glad there was a ceasefire, but it doesn't seem like it was real. I think it was like all brokered. I mean, at the end of the day, it kind of feels all, kind of fake. But anyway, I don't tell you. I thought I'd love the 2C because I have tried it maybe 2 other times, but I wanted to get the real deal stuff in Colombia, and it just didn't do it for me. Kind of ruined my trip because I kept convincing myself, no, I'll try it again. This time it'll be different. And I remember, God, at some point I couldn't leave the room I was in. And I asked one of the guys that, stayed in the room with me, but he had another room. I asked him, I said, what hotel are we in? He goes, bro, we're in a house right now. I thought I was so blasted. I thought we were in a hotel at a wedding somewhere at some point.
Brad, do you want to hear something hilarious? So I had massive FOMO, right? Because I wasn't there, right? So I'm asking Dose, yo, what's going on? So Dose is out, he's taking a video, and I see everybody in the video, and I'm like, yo, where the hell is Rags? And Dose goes, he's not making it out tonight. I'm just dying.
No, it's no chance to make it out.
Rags was hibernating.
I was in the house. I was like, you know what I mean, looking out the window. I was in the freaking pool in the hot tub, like hanging out. I mean, then I couldn't leave my room at some point because there was a lot of weirdos in the house. Bro, Dose, at that point there were some weirdos coming into the house,
and they wouldn't leave.
They wouldn't leave. And
some nice people, but they wouldn't leave.
I miss my edibles so bad. And look, I'm not gonna lie. Listen, I went the next day. I went to work out. I went to the sauna. I went to the cold plunge at the hotel next door, 2 doors down, and I cleaned my fucking self up, bro.
I missed that. I wish I went with you.
The second night, I was out. I was having a blast, bro. It was it was kind of cool having a bodyguard because you feel like the Secret Service a little bit. But he's like, clear, go. You know what I mean? And we're going. And the way it's described to me, the way this guy's acting, like so serious, like I'm the president. I'm thinking I'm about to get robbed any second. I'm patting down my pants every 5 seconds. I'm like, do I got my wallet? You know what I mean? Like, oh man. But I'll tell you what. Dose, I've been doing all the talking. And Jay, you're a PhD in Colombia, so we'll get to you as the final frontier here. But Dose, what was your experience like in Colombia?
Well, let me just say, first and foremost, I also partaked in that 2C myself, although
He said that like one of Diddy's friends. I was partaking, but I was not at the free call.
I wasn't exactly. It wasn't something that it wasn't my proudest moment. I didn't really like it myself. I remember just thinking to myself, God, I feel like I'm floating right now. I just don't like it. I just don't want any more of this crap. Fuck this. I don't want to do this anymore.
It's a fine line with this stuff.
It really is.
Tiny bit, because if you do too much like I was hoovering, all of a sudden I'm doing fucking like sand, ain't snow angels, and I'm in like the sand outside. I don't know what's going on.
So if you were a hoover, I was a mini dustbuster. I mean that's as far as I went.
It was so wild. The shit was happening. One of our friends fell down a fucking hill.
No, not the hill. He fell down the steps of our Airbnb.
On that hill area, bitch, because he had fucking ash all over him.
But he fell down all the way down the steps to the bottom of the gate and slammed his body in the gate, and his wallet was like 10 feet away in the mulch or some crap like that. That was in the property.
Bro, anyway,
18 of y'all in one crib?
No.
Well, 5 of us were in one crib.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look.
6 of us were in one crib.
First of all, I co-sign on a lot of just pretty much everything you said, especially with regards to Rambo. Okay, shout out to him. He was the man.
Shout out to my man Rambo.
Yeah, and I remember the last day. I woke up 8:30 in the morning. We had a flight, and I hear some passionate conversations downstairs, and I couldn't make out the words. I go downstairs. It's Rambo and Rags on the sofa, and bear in mind, Rambo doesn't speak English. Okay. And Rags, he knows he knows how to get by, but he doesn't speak Spanish either. Okay, so they were having a deep, passionate conversation about life when I came downstairs at 8:30 a.m.
I implemented this, and it shows how great of a world we're in. That humans can even communicate. I have my broken Spanish, his broken English, bro. He loves Tupac. We were talking about Tupac. And then I was like, he don't really know much else. So I put on Michael Jackson. He loved Michael Jackson.
Oh, who doesn't?
But anyway, the guy has 3 guns on him. And, when you're all 2-seat up, drunk as hell, out of your mind, and you're like, wait, that gun, does that have a safety? You're start thinking, like, could that thing just go off? No, but I remember I was so blasted off 2-seat. And I looked at one of our other friends is so blasted off 2-seat. He's trying to do his laundry of his clothes. And he's just watching the dryer. He can't stop watching the dryer. And me and Rambo start messing with him. Like, what are you doing, bro? What are you watching the dryer? And he told me later that he had gotten so blasted, and I was messing with him, and I had Rambo like yell at him. I had Rambo go up to him and like yell at him, and was laughing and saying in Spanish, and it scared him. So he just stayed in that area and just kept watching the washing machine because he had no idea what the hell Rambo was gonna happen. No, but
sounds like an amazing trip.
And I'll add this, right? Medellin was beautiful.
Medellin.
Okay, I swear, walk around Medellin felt like being in Times Square, a flea market, and a music video all at once. I mean, at times it felt like I was on Shark Tank and I was the investor. I mean, and I say this with full respect to the hustle. Okay, I couldn't walk more than 5 steps without someone trying to sell me something. I'm talking clothes, candy, cigars, massages, drugs. One time we was at this restaurant establishment on the patio. I was sitting outdoors. I was mid-bite into an empanada, and 3 dudes rolled up on us like a hip-hop trio, right? One had a mic, the second guy had a Bluetooth speaker, and the third one was a hype man. And look, I get it. It's the grind. The U.S. dollar goes a long way out there. And I know this kind of happens in a lot of countries. This is not like something that's out of the ordinary. But, bro, it was nonstop. And here's the thing. I really wanted to show some love. I really did. But all I had on me was large bills, 20s, 50s, 100s. Right, Jay? And so, look, listen, folks. Here's the bottom line, though, okay? If you're going to Colombia,
Colombian,
treat it like a giant outdoor strip club. Okay, bring singles, lots of them. You probably won't want most of what's being sold on the streets, but $1 goes a long way over there. Okay, and that literally was my pet peeve, but also the learning experience out of it too. Because if I ever do get out there, I'm gonna bring a stack of ones with me.
It's just you feel a little guilt when you see those people. You're like, I'm having fun, and my life is so much different, and I'm so grateful, but still feel it's a guilt, right? It's like when you're out having a blast, and then you remember, damn, you know what's going on in Gaza right now, you dumbass. Like you remind yourself, right? And you're like, am I even allowed to have fun? And it messes with your head, bro. And yeah, definitely there's hustlers out there. You got to respect the hustle. I definitely gave out a decent amount of change. But again, you can't give out too much because then you become a target. It's a very fine line you're walking. But I'll tell you, my only complaint, and again, the food was pretty good. Some of the meat stuff, I'm used to this GMO shit out here. I'm used to the awful meat out here. No, I actually get my meat very, very specific place out here. But the meat, I didn't really enjoy the meat that much. I'm not going to lie to you. I had chicken and I had a little bit of the steak stuff and the wings. But the only complaint I had was we're not used to certain things in other cultures, right? So it seemed in this culture, it's a lot of lingering going on. I'll put it that way. So when I first got there, the guy at the airport guy drops you off. He comes in, he hangs out. Then all 2 hours later, like, wait, I guess he's hanging out, right? Next day, my boy has some beers delivered to the crib. Girl delivers them. She's hanging out. She's having beers with us. Okay. Next thing you know, her boyfriend shows up. Now I'm like, wait. And I'm all 2-seat out. I text him, like, you got to get him out of here. You got to get him out of here, bro. And it's a lingering, bro. Then there's another guy who's hanging out. And it's just like, I get it. But I don't get it, right? Because, we're used to freaking, getting your DoorDash and slapping the guy. Get the fuck out of here.
I want my privacy, bro. I'm on vacation. I'm trying to chill. I'm not trying to entertain someone that I barely even know.
Yeah, but
I get it though. I understand. They're all trying to do their own hustle. They figure I hang around this person long enough. There's an opportunity. There's a business opportunity somewhere down there. It's a transactional relationship to them. That's it.
That's it. But also, it's like it's uncomfortable because we're just smiling at each other because they don't speak much English. I don't speak much Spanish. So we're sitting in the same room and we keep catching eyes. I'm all 2-seat out. I'm like, And that's why I just went back in my room and I closed the door. I said, I can't deal with this shit no more, bro. I just gotta be by myself right now, man.
It was excessive. It was definitely excessive. And I wonder.
We had a butler. We also had a butler, Jay.
Oh. We had a butler who wanted to stay there too. We had to kick him out the first day.
He stay there.
No, he didn't sleep in the. He wanted to sleep in there.
He wanted to sleep in there.
Yeah, he wanted to stay there, but that room is taken. You cannot stay here.
I gave him every bag of Tusi that was that I had in that house. I said, "Here, take the Tusi." That guy had the biggest smile.
Oh, he was doing that shit too. The butler.
Yeah. Listen, he was doing whatever the hell he could get his hands on. The butler, bitch. I was like, it was so funny. Out of nowhere, he's like, "We gotta fix this. We gotta fix that." He starts fixing shit. I'm like, that's the bathroom door. There's people in there. I'm like, what are you doing? And then he just starts fixing the hot tub. And that hot tub, it had some dirty ass water in that hot tub. Goddamn.
Well, here's the thing. We get there, that hot tub was broken. He fixed it the next day. And I see that, all right, he fixed it. Awesome. And you could tell, how you could tell when something has been used for a while? Because the whole floor, before he filled water in it, was dirty. There was leaves. There's all this other gook in there. Bro, when he fixed it, he just turned the water on and let all that dirt just rise to the top. He didn't bother wiping anything out and cleaning nothing out. I mean, there was no desire on my part. And I don't know if anyone else did. I didn't see anyone else go in there. There was no desire for me to go in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. It was the worst Airbnb experience, bro, because not only the place is dirty, and the room I had, these guys' rooms are okay, Jay, but they gave me the shit room, like the dog room downstairs.
You came last. I had the same experience.
I came last, but you know what I mean. I'm also on financial aid.
Yeah. Well. Look.
Listen, let me say one more thing before you go into. On top of all that, the place is there's some cockroaches going around here and there. On top of that, there's a gay club above us, which is
next door.
Like gay motherfuckers party hard, and you got like the fucking drag queens, it's so loud above our house that literally at 4 a.m, it's like you can't sleep. There's no chance.
Well, technically it's next door, but then they have a couple levels up, and then which feels like they're right above us, but they're right next door.
They were right above us.
Thursday and Saturday night was massive gay night. I mean, on Saturday night there was lines that went all the way out in the back, like all the way out on the street to get into the club. I mean, and then you see your couples. It was either 2 dudes, 2 girls, 2 dudes.
Yeah, it wasn't gay. It was also lesbian too. But it was, bro. They have a good time, and I'm happy for them. But even if it was a straight club, it would have pissed me off because, right, it's loud.
Yeah, you hear boom, boom, boom all throughout.
It's just boom, 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 exactly. Yeah. And it's not music that I'm really a fan of. So,
I had one of those things too. At your brother's bachelor party, I came late. Arrived after everyone. I got stuck in the room with the bunk bed, and my room had the only bathroom on the downstairs floors.
Oh,
so I'm a single guy. I got my joint with me in the bed. I hear coming in and out. What's up, buddy? What are you doing? Going to the bathroom, in and out of my room. It was
about the room situation. A couple of things I have to add about the room situation. Your brother, Rags, texted the group and said, since me and my brother, we organized and put all the money up, and there's only 2 bedrooms that have their own dedicated bathrooms. Those are ours, FYI. So those rooms are taken from the beginning. Then we get in the house. Push gets he runs into one room that has the balcony that goes out to the pool, and he pretty much just jumped in that one. So I went on the other one that was right by there. What's funny
is that he has another brother. Me and my brother. What am I, asshole?
Well, I didn't name drop on purpose.
I know. I'm just saying. It's so funny how he didn't even consider me in the equation.
Well, you didn't do the organizing. Him and the twins did the organizing, apparently.
Okay, let's be honest, okay? Come on. Doing a couple of Google searches, bitch. Fuck out of here. And I agree. You know what I mean? Like, one of them put the money up. That's a big thing. But look, to say, anyway.
And by the way, optically speaking, it wasn't the best look being next door to that gay and lesbian club, simply because we had a very nice balcony out there, and we're standing out there. You see this long line of people, or people walking back and forth. They had to look at all these guys on our balcony just hanging out there, like, oh, okay, I guess they must be the VIPs in that club.
That's the after party. But I mean, listen, I love the people of Colombia. I love the way the mountain city's set up, man. A lot of beautiful things about there. So I will not deny
totally.
It's just got a really rich culture. Great city.
Oh, Rags, let me ask something. Do you remember the one thing that you were scared of before you went on this trip?
Yeah, anything to do with coming back in the United States.
Yeah, so how was that?
No, I didn't even check my passport. They just fucking did the eye scan, and then all the Palantir data showed up. And they're like, all right, he's just a fucking idiot crackhead comedian. Get in here, bitch.
I have global entry. And what happens is I go into global entry. Now, first of all, we entered through Fort Lauderdale. So I went to U.S. Customs through there and go on the global entry line. And while you're in line, there's like 10 people in front of me. So I was pretty quick. And then there's 5 kiosks while I'm in line. And you're supposed to go to the kiosk while you're standing in line. And it takes a quick picture of you. And then you go back in line. That's it. Scan a passport, nothing. It just takes a photo of you. That's it. So by the time it's my turn to go up, the agent, before I'm even at the desk, the agent's desk, he's like, Mr. Safari, how are you today? Did you pack all your things yourself? Did you bring anything back? No. Yes. Whatever. Okay. Welcome home, brother. Have a good day. First time I ever got called brother by U.S. Customs, ever.
Wow. Last time they did that to me coming from DR. But yeah, this time it was just like, they were like waiting on me. And I was like the last one because I had to take a dump right out of the plane. You know me, I time it perfect.
Yes.
So I went in and I went in the bathroom. I was taking my nice dump. And I was the last one. It was like completely clear. There was like a million fucking rows, but no one in them. And I walk up and the lady's like, oh, they're waiting for you. I'm like, oh, wait for me? What? Now I'm getting a little worried. Like, what are we waiting for? I walk up and a Homeland Security guy, Asian dude, is like, look in there. He's like, anything to declare? I go, no. He goes, welcome home. That's it. Didn't even take my passport. Didn't even open it. Didn't look through my phone. So it was exaggerated, some of this, obviously, because if you're going to fucking ask someone a question, it's me. No, but, yeah, Jay, now let's get to you. You've been to Colombia how many times?
Well, all right. So during probably like 4, 5 times. And then during COVID, I was there for about 3 months.
Let's get the exact stats here. 5 times?
Yeah. And then during COVID, I was there for 3 months.
Also, you were at some point, the last time, you were like fighting the rebels.
Yeah. That's when I left.
The rebels are attacking us. And there's a fucking video. I'm just seeing people run. I'm like, Jay,
yeah,
what the hell is...
Yeah, there was a whole riot going on, and that's when I was like, all right. I opened the window, tear gas hits my face. I was like, all right, they're blocking the exit roads out, and at that point I was like, all right, this has become too dangerous for me. I think I best go back home at this point.
You're like, I'm American. This is what an American feels like when any type of shit goes down. We're pussies. No, so you've been to Colombia 5 times.
Yeah.
Now, you've not only embraced the culture, like I said, you've actually been in real situations where you've had to, survive for your life, huh?
Yeah, I got robbed out there. And
you've actually lived out there. What's the longest stay you had there?
3 months during COVID.
3 months. And look, I gotta commend you, bro, because I couldn't do 3 months. I'm a little spoiled American bitch. I need to get home and sleep in my bed. 3 months now.
I'll tell you something. It was the first time I got applauded at work. Is while I was over there because I was in my happy place.
First time you got what at work?
I got applauded at work. Like
applauded.
Applauded.
Like you did well in your
they recognize your projects,
you. Great?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, they recognize your work from your company, like the work you.
They must have recognized it from work you did before you left.
It was during that time too.
Wait, oh man! So give us, I guess, a breakdown of maybe the craziest times you've had. Give us some story. Give us something that you love to talk about.
Well, all right. So, one thing, just to speak to what you guys spoke about, one thing I did notice is that their culture is very much more open than ours, right? Like people have no problem with just speaking to a random stranger on the street and starting up a conversation with each other, right? You know how like here we're skeptical about approaching strangers and stuff. There, it's very open. I see like the neighbors all know each other. People in the community all know each other. Random strangers talk to each other about stuff. So it's very different. So that's like one thing you got, that mindset. The lingers, as you say, just, like just people just hanging like, and that's what I did. Like the cab driver that I was driving me around over, he spoke a little bit of English and he was a chill guy. I wanted like a daytime rate, like just wherever I need to go, he'll take me. He comes, he's like, he crashed with me at my Airbnb. He's like, hey, do you mind if I use your kitchen? And he's cooking the 2C up in my kitchen. So I saw how he was making that.
Whoa! This guy was more than a cab driver.
Yeah, that was the second.
Why didn't you write down the recipe, Jay?
I know the recipe.
I'm sweating just thinking about that shit. Yeah, I'm never doing that again. I'll tell you that. Ever again.
I agree. It wasn't for me.
Dose had the best way to describe it. It looks, the color is like that of like remember the Flintstone vitamins back in the day? I mean,
I heard
like, what am I doing with my life? I'm putting purple shit inside of me.
I heard they started changing it too. Did you get any like random blue colors? Or
No,
I had 2 batches.
They were all pink.
They were all pink.
But I heard about the blue one.
Yeah, I know.
Because of last time I traveled to DR. And that one actually, no, that was really nice. And I thought that maybe that was fake. I don't know. Listen, we don't know what the fuck's going on. But I can't risk it anymore. I'll tell you this. When you wake up, after you're doing 2C, you literally, it's like when Windows got an update. You know what I'm saying? Like your brain, it's like 1%, 2%. 8%. Like 12 minutes later, it's like 14%. And then finally, like 3 hours later, like, all right, bitch, I'm back there. You know what I mean? Like, it is to definitely have a hole in your head type of shit. You know what I mean? Like, bro, my operating system was not up to par, bitch. You know what I'm saying?
It's so funny, it's so funny you say that because that's how I felt the very next day. And I remember heading out with a couple guys to go to the spa to get a deep tissue massage. And on the way there, of course, we get approached by this trio, another trio. There's like a bunch of trios, hip hop trios. And I was so like not in the mood. And I'm like, no. I was like, no, man, I can't do it. I've given the guy a little bit of attitude. I was like, no, man, I can't do this right now. I can't do this right now. No, chill. And then I guess I pissed him off because then he goes, okay, my friend, I remember your face, my friend. I remember your face.
Oh, God.
Then I turn on the charm. I'm like, no, yo, bro, tranquilo. I'm just really drunk right now. I'm hungover. I need the tranquilo. Just chill. Just chill out. It's like, okay, my friend. No problem.
Bro, it was the United States wasn't the only one that was going to attack Iran that weekend, bitch. You about to get done by Colombia, bitch. So that's the thing is like the reload, the hangover. It wasn't just like a normal hangover.
It wasn't.
I felt like all of a sudden, it took me a while to communicate. Like I was communicating like a monkey. Like, you know what I mean? I was just like, I was doing like fingers and I was doing like pointing at shit. Like I couldn't even communicate proper. Like when we went to go to get food, I was like,
was anyone in the group able to speak Spanish? I pointed at
the food I want at another table. I'm like, that one. You know what I mean? I didn't say the menu, the name. It was that soup, that hangover chicken soup they got.
Yeah, sancocho, yeah. The sancocho was fire, bro. It was fire for me. And Rags, you're right, bro. I don't remember getting like a typical hangover in the mornings, meaning like I didn't have the headache or anything like that. I just felt fried and just out of it, and like I just needed like a reboot or something like that, like you said, right? I think you described it perfectly by saying it was kind of like a Windows update. Well, slowly the percentage of the Windows desktop loading up.
I'm talking about on an old computer, bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Windows 95.
I'm not talking about the new joints. You know what I'm saying?
Windows 95.
But look, at least we're honest and we're admitting the fact that what we did and the mistake we made, which was getting the wrong.
Did you guys notice any?
I'm done with that stuff, man. It was just not a good look.
Did you guys notice any dangerous situations or not because Rainbow was there?
Yeah, when I was in the room talking to myself.
Rags was so we only had 2 keys for the house, and I was one of the key holders. And Rags' first night was obnoxious as anyone I've ever seen about the door, because you can't even open the door from the inside without a key, because the door was all screwed up.
Locked the fuck in there, yeah.
And so it's like 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm trying to just get some shut eye now. And he keeps knocking on my door, coming in, and open the door. Are you sure the door is locked? You're gonna go down there right now. I made him go all the way. You're gonna go down there right now. Okay, walk down there. Okay, now pull the damn door. Pull it. No, don't push it.
The reason for this, I wasn't asking that. I was asking you because someone was landing, Jay, at 6 a.m. So I had to stay up for them. And
you said 7.
Because if
you said 7.
No. His flight landed at 5. He said he'd be there by 7, but he was there by 6.
Were you going to stay up anyway, Reg?
No, that was the thing. But I knew if I stayed up, I was going to ruin my day, right? I knew that was going to happen, right? I just know me. And if I'm staying up, I'm going to go hard, and I'm going to go twice as hard. I was chugging shit. I looked like fucking Pink Panther with fucking Tusi all over me.
Your day was ruined anyway.
Bro, at one point I remember looking up, and I saw one of our friends. He looked like Bozo the Clown. He had so much shit on his face.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah, bro. It was everywhere. Iran attacked the United States? I'm like, no, other way around, bitch.
I missed that one.
Bro, that was a fucking debauchery, bro. Anyway, I had to be up to let this guy in, which I did. I let him in, and then he, of course, is ready. I'm ready to go. Let's go, Rags. I'm like, well, great. And at that point, he gets like this fresh batch of 2C delivered to him. And I'm like, well, let me try this one. Maybe it's different. God damn it, it's all the same shit.
They were bosom buddies for 24 hours straight. They would not leave each other's side for about 24 hours. And most of those 24 hours, they were in the bedroom, just talking and complaining about life or whatever it was they were talking about in there.
Conspiracy theories, bro.
There was. God. I'd come in there for like 3 minutes and listen to. I'm like, I can't take this anymore. Let me get the fuck out. And then come back in there again. It's the same shit. I get reeled into their conversation for like 3 to 5 minutes, and then I'm like, I can't take this crap anymore.
Well,
I'm leaving.
Let me tell you something though. What this trip did for me though, it was my last hurrah. It was officially. I'm sobering up. I'm not drinking no. And since then, I've been such a good boy. I haven't had a drink. I had one drink. Sorry. I haven't had any nights where I was like, I'm gonna do anything. I haven't smoked a bogey. I haven't done nothing. So
it's been 10 days, Rags. Not even
10 days, but just a third of a month, bro.
What do you mean? You've gone 10 days before.
I'm not saying I haven't. What I'm saying to you though is I have no urge to go out and drink. I have no urge. I'm even light on the edibles right now. You know what I'm saying? And you know that's crazy. But like, I am like enjoying sobriety is my point. Okay. And I am like, listen, that trip was the final countdown for me.
Let me add a couple things here.
47, you shouldn't be trying new shit. Okay.
No, you're right.
If you ain't have it yet, just look in the mirror and say, you missed the boat, bro.
Fair enough. Let me add a couple things. You mentioned you weren't too impressed with the meat. I'll just say this. It's unfortunate that you missed the first 2 dinners because those were...
I'm not talking about the guy's meat you had in your mouth.
No, that was a good one. That was a good one, buddy. That was a good one.
I know. I missed the one dinner. I
know. They had good steak in those places over there. And,
I feel guilty.
And the dinner, the second night, I had the best paloma I've ever had in my life at the second restaurant we had dinner at. Well, it was so good that I went out with the wife on a date this past weekend, and we went to a Stagehouse Tavern out in Somerset, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And the cocktail menu, they had the Paloma up top as one of their main, main drinks. So I ordered Paloma. That shit was straight ass. Most ass freaking drink ever. Of course. I don't think I'm ever going to order Paloma again.
Obviously, I forgot what's in a Paloma.
A grapefruit juice and tequila, yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, look, when I say, I'm done with steak, by the way, because I saw, again, one of those videos popped up on my feed. They show them twisting a cow, and I go, I'm done with it. Right, I just can't. Look, I'm already eating chicken turkey.
Right. Go vegan. Let's go vegan. Go all the way.
I can't go vegan, obviously.
Yes, you can.
But I can decide where I buy my meat.
I can
be ethical about where I buy my meat and make sure they're not tortured prior to their death. I can also make the choice that, look, I'm going to be honest. My best favorite food is a burger. I'm not going to lie. But sometimes in life, you got to make that choice for your health anyway, bro. Cheeseburgers are going to kill me anyway, right? I'm not a steak guy. I've had the best porterhouses, this and that. And it's never even hit me like that.
Sweet, I don't
know about all that.
Out there. What'd your brothers eat out there? Because they don't eat
rabbit food.
Chicken and shit.
I mean,
bro, there was a lot of pizza ordered in the house. Okay, there was like 100 fucking empty pie boxes, man. But
rabbit food.
So Jay, give us one more. Any advice to anybody going to Colombia? Now you've done it all over there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you were knee deep in fighting the guerrilla warfare. You were obviously you had women there.
Yeah.
You have and you've indulged in the fine yayo over there in the past, right? You're obviously cleaned up your life, but.
Well, he doesn't call himself our main man and from earth, water, sand, and mud for nothing.
And you were out cooking Tusi apparently in your Uber's car.
My driver.
What do you recommend to people?
So I'll tell you another really quick story, right? And this is how fast it could happen. We're walking out in the streets of Cali, Colombia. It's a different city. I'm walking.
So that's not the cartel, the Cali cartel, right?
Yeah. Yep. Cali cartel. Yep. One of the 3 major cities you'd say in Colombia. Mm-hmm. So we're walking down the street. The girl I'm with, She's on the left side of me, closest to the street. And there's a law, where two guys cannot ride on the same motorbike, right? Because of exactly what I'm about to tell you. One second, I'm looking down, trying to find the nearest ATM or whatever. She's on her phone. Two dudes pull up.
And
I see her. He pulled out a gun on her. I don't know what's happening. I'm behind. I look up. I think they're just talking to each other. Okay. But then all of a sudden, I see the gun out, right? He snatches her phone, then he looks at me, and I just put my hands up, take one step back, hops back on the bike and peels off. Now, there was a couple with their child in front of us. They turned around and asked, "Are you all right?" This, that, what happened? But these guys did a quick snatch and then dipped off on the motorbike. And that shit happens very common out there, small shit like that.
Wow. And did you buy a replacement phone for her?
Yeah, it was cheap. I felt bad because she was accompanying me walking down the street.
No, I get it.
So I
She's
felt
your bodyguard.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So be careful. Number one, don't have your cell phone in your hand, which we were told as well.
Yeah. So there's a saying there. It's called "no dar papaya." That means don't give papaya. Like, don't flaunt your wealth. It's basically what they're saying. Like, keep yourself very modest. You got chains. Don't show that.
I'm like that anyway, bro. I don't
you know what I mean?
Or any of that shit.
And have your wits about you. You know what I mean? It's just like you said. It's an impoverished country, and desperate people, they will, they'll look for.
I mean, at one point, Jay, you were going so much that I thought you might be on like the 90 Day Fiance shit. Like you know what I mean? I thought you might find a wife there, because I know a guy who found a wife in Costa Rica, right? Mm-hmm. I know a guy who found another guy who found a wife in Colombia. I mean, they got divorced. But so, like, this shit happens a lot. Any advice to the guy that's watching our show or woman who's looking for love and in the United States isn't producing the results they want, and they've been watching 90 Day Fiance? Give them some advice on Colombia.
Well, the first thing is, that is a definite. But some motherfuckers ain't going to listen whether you advise them or not on that shit.
I mean, first of all, who is not strapping up if they are obviously in a country? If first of all, if they're going for, now when you say strap up, I'm talking about actual person. I'm not talking about sex work. Okay, right? So look, if it's an actual person, strap up. There's a lot of conservative women in Colombia, right? Let's not forget that. But they're Catholics, right? They're religious people.
So here's the thing.
Jay,
I think the whole.
You're saying strap up with a. You're saying what's your advice?
That was Dose's main thing. I'd say, all right. So a lot of these dudes, right? They have like the Passport Brothers thing. They have a whole thing that they're gonna go find.
Yeah, I learned that weekend. I am not a Passport bro, bitch.
Yeah, right. So they have these fantasies. All right, I'm gonna go to U.S. and everyone will like me because I'm American, But no, first of all, they go out there without knowing the language. You're never gonna be able to actually take someone seriously to have a long-term relationship or be in a marriage without being able to speak a language. Either they got to speak English, which is not that high, or you got to learn Spanish. All right. Because what they do is they fall in love with these chicks, and these chicks don't take them seriously. They look at them as sugar daddies, right? They're gonna treat them all nice, say all the things, poppy this, poppy that, and get them amped. But they're not gonna.
So going past that, let's go past the warnings. If a guy actually wants to meet a real Colombian woman,
he's got to learn the language,
and he learns
first.
A little Spanish.
Yeah.
Where is the best city to go? Where and how should he go about it? Because you have to also remember. Certain women there,
stay away from the tourist traps.
Where should they go to the church to meet them? Like what city?
Look, the first thing is stay away from the tourist traps.
Number one, which city?
I mean, you can find all the big cities. It's like with anything, right?
Okay, but with your experience.
Okay,
if so the guy's like, bro, I got one trip, bro.
All right.
Give me general information.
All right, so I liked Cali better because, first of all, they didn't have separate menus where they had gringo prices and non-gringo prices. I noticed compared to other cities in Colombia.
Oh, really?
Because... yeah, like Cartagena, they got gringo price menus and not, so they weren't looking to.
Yeah, because it's pretty expensive there. I noticed too.
Medellin is one of the more expensive cities over there, and it was cheaper. And they don't cater to tourists as much. You get to meet more. I feel like the real Colombians that aren't, you know what I mean, that don't just look to take advantage of tourists. So I liked Cali, and Cali, culturally, it's all salsa. Like that is the salsa capital of Colombia.
Wow! So when you hear the Biggie song, I'm going back to Cali, it's a whole different world for you.
A whole different world for me. It's crazy because I was literally playing that. I think when I came back there, listening to that off the airport.
All right.
And the culture
we got to wrap
There's
this
never
up. So
on time.
anything else about Colombia you guys want to add?
Well, like you said, man, I think you guys hit the nail on the head, right? There's a lot of impoverished people. Like, just don't go there to exploit it. You know what I mean? Like, like treat
Bro,
the
I
people.
felt like fucking Tony Soprano. I was giving out, here you go, here you go, here you go. You know what I mean? Like,
I recommend, if you do go out there, I recommend taking that tour into Pablo Escobar's neighborhood. They got a lot of tour guides over there. They take you to the courts where he used to execute people. I know that sounds really harsh, but it's a whole different environment, a whole different vibe now. Very touristy and gorgeous, gorgeous views. So very, very PG, family friendly oriented type of thing. So I recommend that for others too. That was fun.
And my recommendation: stay away from the 2C. Make sure you make a plan before you go there, and make sure you really check out the Airbnb. If you say, I'd recommend staying in a hotel. Jay, for the final recommendation from the PhD in Colombia.
Yep, and be worried. Learn the language first and foremost, and try to embrace yourself in the culture, and keep your wits about you. And I think you have a great time.
All right, very general, nothing too specific. Jay, anything else as far as Colombian women, like anything specific in the bedroom or anything juicy you can give us?
I mean, Colombian women, they are very sexually open. So
you're trying to get Jay in trouble, right?
Everybody has a past.
Yeah, no, they are free.
In trouble.
They are free. Look, if you're going for that, that's definitely out there. You know what I mean? But don't be stupid and fall in love. You know what I mean? Don't try tricking and think that she's falling in love with you.
Colombian women very demanding. In the bedroom.
I didn't notice that. They're obliging. I'll tell you that.
They were what?
Obliging.
Obliging. Wow, that's scary that you had to use that word. All right, we'll wrap it up with that. Colombia.
Wrap it up.
Colombia. Okay, so we don't have much time today, so we're gonna rush through our topics. Diddy, let's go light because look, there's a lot going on in the world, and I'm just gonna sum it up really quickly before we go into Diddy. I want to really spend this time to say that I think there better be an end to this war in Gaza this week, man, because it isn't the news. It's just more and more attention is being put on this. The world is standing up, and there's newspapers in Israel which have admitted now that IDF soldiers are blatantly shooting at people that are doing nothing. They're just waiting there for food. And they're also saying that, they're paying $1,500 a house per demolished structure in Gaza. This is coming out of Haaretz, which is an Israeli newspaper. I just want to see the violence end, man. There's got to be a two-state solution here. Obviously, no one's leaving, okay? It's got to be two-state. Can we let's come together as a world and just, dude, there's kids here who are losing their life on a daily basis for no goddamn reason. And again, that's all I'm going to say is let's pray for that. Let's hope for that, man. It's really important because we're starting to live in a world where people are, again, getting extremely evil and people are being very mistrusting of governments and everything around them. And so it's very scary where we're headed.
Well said. Well said.
We're past that. Mamdani, before we get to Diddy, Mamdani is now the Democratic nominee for nominee for mayor for the Democratic Party. He will be running against Eric Adams, possibly Cuomo, and then also
in New York.
Whatever happens on the right there, but I mean, it just doesn't. Maybe this year the right will win, right? I mean, when Bloomberg was on the right, he won, right? So Bloomberg ran as a Democrat in New York, right, and then became a Republican as a presidential. No, I forget. Anyway.
No. He was Republican. He was Republican.
So to me, Mamdani. By the way, everybody fucks up his name. No. This is the Mamdani. It doesn't get easier than that, by the way. So it's almost on purpose. They're messing this thing up. Mamdani. You know what I mean? Like, he's almost fucking Spanish or Italian. You know what I mean? His name is so easy. I was just sum this up. He's half Gujarati, half Punjabi. Okay? I knew the home this kid grew up in. Okay? This kid is like my niece, right? Yeah, you grew up in a Muslim household, I grew up in a Hindu household. But the culture is the same. The food is the same. Okay? The way you look at and value certain things is exactly the same. The only thing that's different is the prayers and what time you do them. Okay? So, I know the house he grew up in. And when you look at this guy, Mamdani, they're saying, see, this is where I get frustrated because you heard a lot of New Yorkers. He is a jihadist, a terrorist, 9/11. Bro, stop it. This is exactly what I don't like when we talk about anti-Semitism. You're literally just putting a label on the person and making assumptions about them and targeting them. And you know what I mean, insulting them. This is exactly what we don't need. Okay, this kid looks like he's the smile this kid's got. You know what I mean? He just looks like a good kid, right? He's the kid that if I fucking, you know what I mean, if I needed advice in my second year of college, I'm sure that would be one of the guys I go to. If I went into a crowded room of people, okay, and I didn't know anybody, and I saw him in the corner, I'm like, I could probably have a good conversation with that dude. You know what I mean? Like, he just looks soft, okay? He looks so soft. He is not no fucking terrorist. He was at the Pride Parade, for Christ's sake, this fucking weekend. It feels like when you hug him, you're not going to feel any muscle, any tension, because the guy is a soft-spoken man. His mother directed Mississippi Masala. It's a movie about a black man, Denzel Washington, and an Indian girl who fall in love. Freaking director of the Kama Sutra. What kind of house do you think he grew up in? Do you think he grew up in a house where there's going to be Sharia law now in the United States? There's no Sharia law anywhere, okay? It's number one. Number two, Sharia law is a religious thing. It means to make sure you're a good person. It's a very simple thing. Be good about your religion. It's nothing to do with actually governing actual people and the order of society. Okay, so let's stop. This is the problem, is there's so much Islamophobia, which we're not hearing that word enough, you know, and I do agree. Anti-Semitism is on the fucking rise, and it needs to stop, because why? It makes no sense to go after people, but Palestinians are also Semites, right? So the whole world is twisted, okay? In the end of the day, we do need to have more tolerance for everybody. But this shit needs to stop. Mamdani, give him a shot. Now, Mamdani, socialist, maybe there's shit I don't like about the guy. And I think that you guys are probably in the same boat. Maybe, look, I do agree with freezing rent. New York is $30 sandwich, bro? $30 fucking sandwich in New York? Bro, how is anybody supposed to afford that? There are McDonald's in New York where people work. How do those people live? They got to travel 2 hours to go to goddamn work at McDonald's? Bro, New Yorkers do need a break. I'm not living there anymore. Yes, I was born in New York. I've lived there very little. I'm a Jersey guy, okay? But I have a lot of, bond with that city. Family that lived there. We went to Queens every fucking month for my whole childhood growing up, okay? And sometimes twice a month. So I have a connection to this city besides being born there. I do think that $30 sandwich is too much. If you made the buses free, oh my God, it's going to become like Amsterdam, where quality of life is pretty damn good, right?
And this is the thing, Regs. All that hate that you spoke about, the people that are attacking him, I don't see any of them attacking him based on his policies. None of them are addressing the policies. I see most of them talking about either Islamophobia. I see Hindu right-wing people saying that he's Hindu-phobic and anti-Hindu. These are the mass things that, now if they want to debate his policies, that's one thing, and that's I'm all for. But the people that call him an anti-Semite and all this, and this is, I just see like wildfire. Yeah, what you've been seeing something different, those?
Well, look, I don't disagree with you as far as what I see on social media and I see on mainstream, right? And I think those are the more popular, talking points. And I agree. I mean, a lot of those are just Islamophobic type of comments. But I have privately heard more specific kind of, criticism. For example, the city-run grocery stores, a $30 minimum wage by 2030.
Okay, and let me say one thing, and I don't agree with a $30 minimum wage. I agree with a $20-something minimum wage, because 30 is too high because small businesses suffer and they can't.
What's it at now? I don't know.
I know in LA we're at $23 here. Something.
Is it 15 out here?
Shit. I don't know, but what I'm saying is you can't live in New York City and make it $15 an hour.
That's right. You're right.
But I know there has to be $30 is going to be too hard on the small businesses. But $30 ain't hard for Amazon or Target. You know what I'm saying? And he's really trying to tax the corporations as well. But also, the city-run grocery store, he's saying one or two stores. He's not saying fucking where you have to wait in line for bread, like in the Soviet Union, or you know what I mean, or in Cuba, where you get a certain amount of shit and you work your job and you don't get paid in money, you get paid in food or whatever. It's not communist. It's a democratic socialist, right? So yes, he's leaning very left on that side of things, and also, I think New York is in a rare position where things do need to become more affordable, bro. It's just insane.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
You're saying one or two grocery stores, by the way, per borough. Sorry. So it's another choice. One. So it's another choice to have.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not. Look. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe this is a bad idea, but I feel like the small guy is getting the fucking attention.
Well, look, he was the only one on the debate that said, when they asked, which is a silly question to ask personally, this is a mayor candidate, a debate, not a freaking U.S. president debate. Okay, what foreign country would you visit first? Everyone said Israel except for him. He's like, I'm staying. Listen, I'll go to synagogues, I'll meet with Jewish leaders, but I'm staying in New York. I mean, I appreciate that decision.
I appreciate that 100%. And I would say if he said I'm going to India, I would have been like, don't do that, you dummy. And first of all, I liked his answer about Modi because he said if Modi was coming here, and I said if Modi stepped foot on the U.S. soil, I'd have him arrested. And
Netanyahu too. He said that about Netanyahu too.
Look, these people these are elites, and we don't need the elites to continue to get more power over us, man.
And there's some criticism where he said, and I heard him say this. Now maybe there's a lot more context to it that I missed because it was just a 60-second clip. He doesn't believe billionaires should exist. I mean, he literally said that.
You hear that, and you're like, bro, but that's how we have innovation, man. You see, there's certain limits I have to being a supporter of a socialist party, but I do think that out of the choices we have, this is by far the best choice, man, because I actually think he cares, man. Looking in the guy's eyes, I can tell, even though they say, don't judge a book by its cover. In this case, I think, dude, he went on a 15 fucking day hunger strike for Uber drivers, bro. Like, that's as motherfucking
walked, right? Or something like that.
You can get when you're brown, man, and you're fucking fighting for the Uber driver.
Yeah. And he didn't take campaign donations, any of that. He didn't want any of that.
He took $70 average donation from however millions of people. People, look, what I love is there's so much support behind the guy, whether it's Muslim, Jewish, Christian, Hindu. There's so much support behind him. There's a lot of Indian piece of shit Hindus who are from India commenting about this for some weird reason. I mean, I guess why am I commenting about Modi or in India? But what? This is a fucking city and mayoral race, right? What the? But like, to me, this guy actually looks like he wants to help. And let me tell you, the guy in New York, the little guy, the little girl. I'm not talking. I mean, about like age. I'm talking about the person that has just been overlooked for so long. Finally, might get some attention if we get the right person in there. So, I just want to, dude, New York City for me has had some of my best times. Like, I want that city to thrive again. You know what I mean? I remember, look, you guys remember, I used to go to New York to find the best pot. Right?
Let me ask you something. Hold on. When was the last time it thrived? When was the last time NYC thrived in your mind?
I will be honest, though. When I was in New York and 2000 and even 12, 13, it was fucking New York, bro. It was thriving. 2010.
Who was the mayor back then? Who was the mayor in 2012? Was it de Blasio?
I think Bloomberg.
Or Bloomberg?
Yeah.
So look, you see where a talking point on the right is, right? You see where there's some.
Listen. If I agree, but that's the thing. I would have voted for. I was big time voted for Bloomberg as president, right? Republican or Democrat, I don't care. I like the way the guy ran New York City. Okay,
he just had a shitty debate.
Look, I genuinely like New York when Bloomberg ran the place, man. So New York was safer. We have people so funny. People are like, New York is on fire. They're lighting homeless people they're lighting regular people on fire right now in the subway, bro. There's literally people getting robbed and shot in Times Square. Like, the place is fucked already. Like, stop. New York is going down. It already is in a certain position right now where it's not as good as it was 10 years ago. Right?
Yeah. Now, one point of clarification here. I wanted to fact check myself here. Currently, the minimum wage in New York City is $16.50, and by January 1st, 26, that'll go up to $17. FYI.
Look, okay, and that maybe I don't agree with the $30, but I do agree with the 2% over $1 million. If you're making over $1 million, what's another $20,000 to you to pay that? Well, listen, if you are making $1 million, you should probably be donating $50,000, right? You should be donating a certain segment of your salary, right? And $50,000 of your money is 5% of your money, right? So, yeah. Look, I honestly think that we do need sometimes the upper echelons of our society to carry the lowest parts of our society. That's what America's about, and I think we've lost that.
But we should be specific here, right? And you touched on this, right? He's proposing a 2% surtax on annual incomes over $1 million for New York City residents. Number one, he wants to generate around $20 billion from that, aimed at funding free public colleges, right? Universal health care, rent freezes, fare-free buses and subways. That's what his millionaire's tax plan is supposed to generate. He also wants to increase corporate tax too, from 7.25 to 11.5%. So all those things are worth noting. These are the policies people should be really talking about at the end of the day.
And look, and that 4% increase is going. Mike, I can't hear you, Jay. Can't hear you.
Yeah, your microphone's screwed up, man.
What I was going to say was that 4% is going to impact some corporations way more than it does others. So I think that's where we have to find some common ground and understand how to.
So everyone out there, Jay's currently having technical difficulties because he's so goddamn jittery. He probably kicked his fucking microphone off, and he got disconnected for a brief moment. So you probably need to, Jay, I don't know what you got to do there, but you got to fix that goddamn mic.
Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back.
Just stop being jittery there. You're very jittery. Barely. You sound like you're trying to talk to me through a cup across the street. Now, Jay left us for a moment. Now, the last thing I'll add about this is, and these are things that he said, and I appreciate there's different context to it, but this is what's going to get people riled up. He advocates raising property taxes on wealthier, and he said wealthier and wider neighborhoods. Okay. Now I know what he was trying to say there, but that's just really bad optics. You're not.
Why? What? The money's in the white neighborhoods.
Yeah, but that just sounds like you're targeting white people.
It's the truth.
I get it. Again, I understand.
So hard to say.
I'm talking optics.
But that's what I'm saying. It's the truth, and fuck optics when you're talking about the fact is that those are the neighborhoods that should be paying more. Sorry. And look, my parents live in a nice white neighborhood.
You're just fueling. You're giving more fuel to Islamophobia, folks. That's what I'm saying.
But this has nothing to do with Islam.
But they're voters too. They're voters too. That's my point. I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I'm just saying. Huh?
They're the ones that voted him in.
So do you know who?
That's where the vote came from, by the way, Dose.
Hey, Jay's back.
The vote came from people that make over $100K in nice neighborhoods.
100K is not $1 million.
But the middle class and the upper class voted for him.
And most of them are well
He lost on the lower class and the African American community
and the black vote.
The black vote. Yeah.
So I'm curious.
What he's saying is good for the black community.
I know. So why is that then? Why did the black community vote for him then?
They didn't.
Because he did not. Because they know Cuomo and he didn't campaign enough in the black community. That's simply is it. That's all it is. And I think again, unfortunately, we have. You know how they are, bro. The minorities are always pinned against each other, man. It's just what it is, bro. Whether it's Mexican and black over here, or whether it's Indian and black over there, or if it's whoever. It's like. Whether it's me, Indian, and you, Iran, they put us against each other, right? Some of these people from our own cultures, right? And it's all bullshit. It's all insecurities. It's not having to understand. Look, I love white people too, bro. They're part of us, right? I'm not saying it's us versus them. We're all together. We need to help each other. But yes, there is white privilege. Let's not forget that shit. And there's Indian privilege, right? There's fucking suburb privilege. There's all types of privileges that exist in the world, and I've had some of them. So I'm not going to sit here and to say I'm some fucking person who has been oppressed. No. But what I am saying is I understand the levels of privilege.
Very fair. Very fair. And by the way, these all have to be signed off by the governor. These tax hikes that he wants to. Look, and it requires state legislative approval too, by the way. Okay, so even if he puts it out there, he may not be able to deliver it anyway.
But what I'm saying, put this into perspective. They're saying this is the biggest turn and win since Obama, and when he got the nomination.
That's significant.
Okay, so when we remember, look, I honestly could see this kid doing well if he does this right. If he takes into account that small businesses could suffer from the $30 an hour wage, if he takes into account that not every corporation can afford 11-point-something%, if he takes into account actually what he says and listens to the people of New York, whether they're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, whatever the hell they are. If he actually takes the time to listen, if he fights Islamophobia, if he fights anti-Semitism, if he fights anti-India, because, bro, we got more hate on India than ever. And, you know, in the end of the day, if he combats, look, the kid grew up half Gujarati, half Punjabi. That could be our friend's son running for mayor, bro.
True.
Literally. Okay? So remember that this hits home for us a little bit because I know that kid growing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been to that kid's house. I slapped that kid around a little bit. You know what I mean? Growing up. I know that kid. And he ain't trying to put no crazy shit. Okay? Yeah. He just wants to help New York. Yeah, maybe he likes political power. Maybe he likes being in the position. Sure. Okay? But I definitely think that he wants to make a difference. And you don't see many politicians that actually are like that. And I don't agree with all the socialism shit yet. But if you go into a grocery store, over here they got a grocery store called Air One. It's a $30, $40 smoothie, okay? A smoothie. A bottle of water is $20, okay? A bottle, not a case, a bottle, okay? So you have that type of price, and then you have the grocery store, the government grocery store, where the water is good quality water for $1 or $2, where maybe you could get a loaf of bread for 1/3 of the price. Just giving people that option, is that such a bad thing? I mean, what the fuck are people even complaining about? Look, I get it. Like I said, not everything is great. But no one. I'm not going to love anybody 100,000%.
He may not even win anyway. This all could be a moot point. Right. We're running out of time here, though.
We got one more thing to cover. Well, we actually had I worked hard on some of these stories. We're not even able to cover. We got one more thing we got to cover. Diddy trial. Okay. That's what I'm going to leave it at because I did the whole fucking 3 pages on goddamn the city run by women. But we're not going to talk about that. So but let's just end with Diddy. Okay. P. Diddy, jury deliberation, right, Jay? Mm-hmm. There's 3 notes sent by the fucking jury to what's going on?
So the main one is that there's one juror who apparently can't follow instructions. They didn't really. So there's that one juror, and the instructions are pretty clear. So, Dose, you bring up those sheets. So this is literally what the jury is deciding on. It's so black and white.
Jabe, can you share your screen? Because my thing is really weird today.
I'll bring it up. One sec.
Let me see if it comes up fast. Do you really need me to share? Do you really need to share this?
I'll just share it real quick just so they can see what we're talking.
I mean, look, okay, let's just also give the recap. They did drop the kidnap. They dropped some of the other charges, right?
Yeah.
All right,
they dropped some of the stuff. They dropped some of the major charges, right, Jay?
Well, they said they did, but I heard technically no. He still has those 5 charges. I couldn't understand what they were talking. Technically, no, those charges still stand, but they don't have to deliberate on them, something like that. But those charges are still
they could deliberate, and also they're saying there could be something new. They come up with a new charge, a deliberation through the deliberation or something. So
look. So you could see how easy it is. This is literally what they have to check off. Each and every jury member. These questions. How do you find the defendant? Guilty, not guilty. Count on the sex trafficking. Then how do you find the defendant on the Mann Act of transportation of Jane Doe? Guilty or non-guilty?
Okay, we'll go down. Let's see the rest of this shit. Anyway. So basically, you're saying you have to fill this out. Okay.
Yes, and apparently one of the jurors isn't able to follow this for some reason. So they're going to continue deliberating starting 9 a.m. tomorrow again on this. But the thing is, what I wanted to bring up is, I think, Dose, you had some conversation with your friends before this trial started, right? And I think the takeaway is they made it seem like Diddy was John Gotti before this trial. You remember that? The sentiments of everyone? And in going through this trial, everything was basically about him being a freak. Well, I mean, it's also about him kidnapping, arson. It's not just that. He lit fucking Kid Cudi's car on fire. He threatened plenty of people. Yeah. He did light the guy's car on fire. He put a bomb in that bitch. He did light the Kid Cudi's.
He did try to murder someone, which time took the blame. Let's not forget that. He beat the shit out of
I'm not saying he's not in
a public hallway, and he did that in public. So can you imagine what the guy does in privacy? So
I'm not saying he's a great person.
There's a lot more than just being a freak. Shit.
But most of this trial, look, the 2 defendants they had were Cassie and
Kid Cudi is a witness. So that's also it's a big
part of it. He'll get I think that'll prove the arson stuff like that.
Yeah,
but do you think
obviously he did arson.
But do you think he's going to get all those all those charges?
No, I think let's be fair here. This is my prediction, and we'll go into your guys' predictions before we close out. My prediction is he gets aggravated assault, guilty. He gets the kidnapping. I think they'll still find him guilty on the arson. You know, they're going to find him guilty on those things
what about the
because that's what he
trafficking?
did. Trafficking, no. Now, by definition, but he did fucking have a prostitute move from over state lines. Now, is he a trafficker? No. Is he a guy who just had a number and he has a plane so he can order people from anywhere to come anywhere? Yes, right? So I don't know how the jury will see, but I can already tell there's a hole in the game right now because this juror that's causing all these issues is a good jury. He's a good juror for the defense, right? So
yeah,
I'm predicting that. Remember, unanimous decisions by the jury here, guys. It can't just be 6-5 or whatever, 7-5, right? It has to be unanimous. So I'm predicting the guy's going to walk away from this pretty good. I'm expecting, like I said, a few charges to stick and more in the abuse, more in the arson. And I'm expecting him to do a sentence of maybe a 3-year sentence total.
I am predicting he'll be guilty on racketeering conspiracy, but not guilty on everything else.
How can he be guilty on racketeering, though?
They're going to have to get him for something.
Yeah.
It's impossible. He can't prove racketeering.
Yeah.
How do you know what they can or can't prove, bro?
Bro, because they showed the evidence. They don't have it on him.
That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think he won't get all the charges. He'll get a few with time served. I think they'll give him like 10 years with time served. You'll probably get out. And
I think it's a lot better than you guys think. And I think, remember, the worst charge here is the racketeering, right?
Yeah,
so
that was
for him to get the worst charge and not
the
a lot of the
RICO
others,
charge was the
to me,
biggest.
doesn't make sense.
Yep.
All right, that's it, guys. We have more shit. We could actually just talk about the shit next week. I'll just save some of this stuff for next week.
Yep.
Good idea.
Yep.
Yeah, we love you guys, and don't judge us too hard.
Expect some stand-up material.
Or judge us a lot.